The 2019 Minneapolis Boat Show, New Year, and there was much to see as awesome boats, docks, kayaks, jet skis, and even my pillow. Yep, packed the convention center. This year, the boat show seemed to come prepared with two themes, making me feel poor, ouch, and pontoons, pontoons, pontoons. There were so many walkways with pontoons, I didn't know what to do with myself. Which pontoon first? Which pontoon was the most expensive? The biggest? The tallest? And were there actually any pontoons less than $150,000? If you thought you needed to see pontoons throughout the year, by the end of the day here, I think you'd be set for a while. There was a 2-story pontoon, with a water slide, of course. There were pontoons with legs. They could stand, they could sit, they could lay down, and heck, if you trained them right, maybe they'd even fetch you a beer. There were twin-engine pontoons, and there was no shortage of luxury pontoons with bimini covers, with big engines, and big power. You look around the whole center and see tow bars, see great sound systems, and even wakeboard powers on these pontoons. Do you want to see what a double-wide pontoon is? Up the stairs to a couch. Coming around, hold on, there's a bit of distance covered. There's another couch. There's a barbecue. There's a tow bar. Take a look all the way to the other side. You have the sound system on another couch on the other side. Captain's chair and another couch. Oh, and did I mention a barbecue with your plenty of deck space to probably set up a badminton net on? Why didn't they set up a badminton net just to make sure you get it, that you need a special permit to transport this boat on public roads? Don't worry, though. They did have other types of boats there, like these boats, for example. No, but seriously, there were others, and I'll get to those in a moment. I'm just going to walk through a few more pontoons since I have the footage so you can see the boats. The couch space was nice, and some of the boats even had bars on board for 2 or 4-person bar settings. The pontoons were most all really nice with lots of features. These pontoons were priced around $55,000 to $70,000, and you look around and have the console catch your eye and note that some had too many buttons to count in a short amount of time. Which one's the eject button? So yes, they had pontoons, and although a less expensive pontoon could be found, most pontoons seem to be in the $60,000 to $160,000 range. This boat could be upgraded from its only 350 horsepower engine to a 400 horsepower engine, so it's going to get its own theme music played while you check it out. There were so many pontoons with 200 to 300 horsepower, I wondered what a gentle little cruise around the lake meant these days. But it's time to take a look around and see what else the boat show has to offer. One of my favorites to look at are the fishing boats, with the gadgets, the gizmos, the radar, the sonar, the fish-seeking missiles. I typically can't get enough, but something about the 250 horsepower engine just didn't seem impressive anymore when pontoons can upgrade to a 400 horsepower package. Something just didn't hit on this trip for me, and the number of buttons and gadgets seemed unimpressive. Something about the selection just seemed kind of plain, and I couldn't really put my finger on what it was. There only seemed to be enough bass boats to count on my hands, but thankfully I did find one of my favorite boats, the Bass Tracker Aluminum. I can afford it one day, classic fishing rig. It was nice to see that Ranger wasn't the only competitor out there with the same style of boat, but both Lund and Ranger still came in about twice the price of the Bass Tracker. I'll take you through a couple more fishing boats before we move on to the next big thing. This here is a fishing ski, and you may notice up at the front of the boat the dance floor is hot, with both moves and grooves going on in this boat. But it seems all the gear and stowage are a bit hidden. The fishing ski boats used to be on my hot list. The console seems fine. There's plenty of storage up in the deck space in front. Good seating. Live wells. Bait well even. This blue fishing ski with tow pole, for example, is a pretty looking boat. The fit and finish, the badges on the seats, it was all put together so well. But I've realized I wanted more practical boat for family needs, cutting costs from those pontoons with a deck boat. And they had one of my eye holders at the boat show this year, the Tahoe 1950, with the seating of a pontoon, the towing of a sport boat, and the deck space to move around well without feeling claustrophobic. It even has a nice big engine. Not sure why a silver lower unit, but back on board you've got captain's chairs and trolling motor up front for fishing. This is what I've been wanting all of you to share this YouTube video so I can get rich. Boat show! Look at these old timey boats. That one looks old and timey too. This one looks like a spaceship. Crazy boat, you don't belong in space. What were you thinking? Very retro. But back at deck boats, I did have a new eye catcher get me intrigued about finding one half-priced a couple years old. I found out this model here is only new out last year, and I'll have to wait for prices to come to check. I'm going to call this the gem find on my list for the 2019 boat show. I don't typically like similar models, but this one really caught my eye with good interior space usage and just the overall design of how you could sit and have the seating positions. The one next to it, for example, just didn't click for me, but it's time to go explore a little more. There were a couple rooms outside the main area with dock stuff to look at. There were a couple cars. There were engines to admire and video simulator games to play. One of the engines was 425 horsepower and may have stood 6 inches off the ground to be topped about 7 foot tall. This thing belonged on a pontoon. I'm just saying. The decking that looked like fake wood, it got me wondering. I wonder if it's powder-coated aluminum and how long it would last, because it did look really nice. I spent a little time looking it over, but there's so many boats and boat lifts to look at, I kept moving on. Did I mention the rafts? Hey, can't leave out raft for raft lovers out there. Gotta look at the inflatable boat market too, but does anyone ever deflate a raft like this? It's like having your own bumper car in boat version, only don't do that so I'm not liable for suggesting anything of the sort. I know I showed you the jet ski next to my pillow, but they had a couple more setups around the show. If you have kids, they did have some virtual and interactive forms of entertainment. Catch the fish using a phone and an ice fishing rod pointed at virtual fish. There was plenty to eat, including the awesome and undeniable mini donut covered in way too much sugar. There were a couple fish and ski runabouts, but the last two main parts of the boat show came down to size and power. Lots of power, either in small boats or in large. Some boats had so much power they had training simulators to teach you how to handle these boats with all the features. Lots of features too. But before we check out wakeboard and ski section, we'll check out the towering beasts of the show. And a quick thanks to Lord Fletcher's for a really nice hoodie for my daughter and other swag providers for the great swag this year, such as a new beach ball.
Bah, 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 bah.
If you want to see the most expensive boats at the show, you're going to have to get in a line. And not even a really well-formed line, more of like a mob area. So be prepared to take off your shoes and wait to slow walk your way through a top deck to get up to a boat, to be on it, maybe not even get in it for a minute or two, but probably less. Can't say they're not nice boats, but they better know how to fetch a beer whenever I ask. Thanks for checking out the video. I'll leave you drooling over ski, wake, and surf, and have a great day.